He's charged with homicide in the shooting death of Antwon Rose, but prior to that, Officer Michael Rosfeld resigned under pressure from the University of Pittsburgh police force after the controversial arrest of 3 young men at an Oakland bar. And now KDKA has obtained surveillance video of that incident. His lawyer says it shows that Rosfeld did nothing wrong and that Rosfeld has been unfairly branded as having a history of being a rogue cop. Here's KDKA investigator Andy Sheehan.
A Saturday night at a bar in Oakland. This surveillance video obtained by KDKA shows a couple of patrons getting the bum's rush. Typical enough, but what happened next would cost Michael Rosfeld his job as a University of Pittsburgh police officer.
The videotape showed exactly what my clients said, which is that they did nothing wrong whatsoever, that they should not have been charged with anything, and they now have a criminal record based upon this event.
Attorney Rob Pierce represents Timothy Riley and Jacob Schilling. 2 of the young men ejected that night who have filed suit, accusing Rosfeld of excessive force and false arrest. Rosfeld's attorney says the tape shows otherwise.
What we have, and I'm supposing that this was not available to the plaintiffs at the time, was obviously video that contradicts every allegation in that lawsuit.
You may be able to draw your own conclusions from the video. Bar owner Paul Welshantz told police that Riley and Schilling were trying to fight with patrons in the back room. And here we see him escorting the 2 out of the front bar. They're followed by Daniel Humphrey, who will later be arrested with them. The exterior shows Riley being shoved out, along with an unidentified 4th man who kicks and shatters the door, then runs off, with Welshantz running after him. Riley, Schilling, and Humphrey then tussle with bouncer Ray's Cook, and Welshantz returns, mixing it up with the 3 outside the bar. But as the video progresses, we see that for the next several minutes, the 3 do not leave and continue to bang on the door.
If they're asked to leave, why don't they just leave?
I think all parties wish this night wouldn't have taken place.
Are they breaking the law here?
This would sustain a charge, at least a prima facie charge, of defiant trespass.
Pitt Police Officer Josh McGinnis is first to arrive on the scene, and after speaking briefly with Welshantz, chases down one of the suspects who tries to flee and begins to line them all up against the wall. It's about 2 minutes later that we first see Rosfeld coming down the sidewalk to the scene. He immediately handcuffs Schilling on the ground.
He stands him up.
He stands him up, and that's the extent of his contact with Mr. Schilling.
Rosfeld holds Schilling in place and has no contact with anyone else, but the lawsuit accuses him of resorting to, quote, physical contact and or violence and not using the force continuum. It also says he throws both Schilling and Riley up against the wall, which is not seen on the video. According to this affidavit he filed later that night, Rosfeld writes that after taking statements from the bar management and viewing the video, he determined that Schilling, Riley, and Humphrey fought with the bouncer, refused to leave, and were drunk, charging them with assault, defiant trespass, and public intoxication. Attorney Urich calls it a clean arrest.
To me, what was shown in that video certainly substantiates at least the affidavit of arrest for the 3 defendants in the case.
But Pierce disagrees, saying Rosfeld never looked at the video and arrested his client solely on the word of bar owner Welshantz, who is also named in their suit. At one point, we do see Rosfeld going into the bar, Urich says, to view the surveillance. But Pierce says Rosfeld returns to the street just 1 minute and 40 seconds later, not enough time to review the video. Pierce also notes that the video we obtained does not show what happened in the back room and maintains that his clients did nothing to merit being kicked out and that Rosfeld wrongly arrested them, making them spend the night in jail.
He did not have the video proof like he indicated, and that is why we believe the district attorney dropped all the charges, because what Officer Rosfeld said under oath is not true.
Later that night, Rosfeld was suspended from the Pitt Police, and at the preliminary hearing, the DA did drop the charges, recently issuing a statement saying there was insufficient evidence to prosecute. Rosfeld resigned under pressure a month later, but his attorney says he was wrongfully forced out and that the incident unfairly tarnished him as having a history of being a rogue cop.
He was never accused at Pitt of being over-aggressive,
To the best of my knowledge and his knowledge, no.
never falsifying evidence against defendants.
No.
Now, Riley Schilling are asking for an unspecific amount of damages against Rosfeld, the bar, and the University of Pittsburgh. But Daniel Humphrey, who was also arrested that night, is not party to this suit. He's the son of Kathy Humphrey, who is the senior vice chancellor at Pitt. Now, Attorney Urich says he suspects that Daniel Humphrey's arrest may be the true reason for Rosfeld losing his job, but the University of Pittsburgh has declined all comment. Andy Sheehan, KDKA-TV News.